think it's probably fair to say, for me at least, yesterday was possibly the most disappointing day of the transfer window so far. I think I'd probably insulated myself from a lot of the disappointment by the fact that those that had spent, i.e. Southampton and Aston Villa, because I think we have to discount the very biggest clubs, the ones that had spent and actually sold their best players. Oh, I thought, well, that's okay. And actually, when I looked at some of the others, they hadn't spent that much money. I looked at the comparison with quite a few clubs, and then I thought, well, actually, Everton haven't really spent. Newcastle, to name two, there were a handful. Newcastle as well haven't really spent. Well, that was blown out of the water, wasn't it? If you saw the review that myself and Gio, sorry, the preview that myself and Gio did last night for the Newcastle game, then you would know that I had no idea about this Willock transfer. Well, it did happen. Fortunately, he's not able to play against us. And they signed him for 25 million. And I thought, wow, you know, if Mike Ashley, who clearly doesn't want to be at Newcastle, who, let's be fair, he's probably not going to go to a game. Even he's from London, apparently. Even one of the games in London, he's unlikely to go to. He's unlikely to go to a Newcastle game next season. He wants to sell the club. If he's going to fork out 25 million when he's not really interested, then it does not make the West Ham situation look great at all. So I found that quite disappointing, really. Then it was followed up by the Milenkovic news. Now, it sort of escaped me, a lot of this news, and it was only really when I went on to do the, because this is the roundup, it's the One Football Roundup. It was only really when I opened the app and I started looking at all the West Ham stories. Oh, crikey, look at this, you know. Because it wasn't just that was the bad news. It was Milenkovic apparently is in talks with Tottenham, which again is not particularly good. I thought, oh my goodness, what have we done? And then added to that, you saw that basically our new signing, Frederick Alves, I say new signing, came in last season, didn't he, from Silkeborg, a central defender, was being loaned out to Sunderland. What was so sort of like bang, 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 one whack after another. I thought, well, this is not good at all. So I want to, you know, discuss all of those three things really. Well, I think I have just discussed the Willock one, but I want to sort of get into the Alves situation, certainly the Milenkovic one. And there's a few other stories here. We're being linked with somebody called David Zimmer, who's from Slavia Prague, not to be confused with Abdullah Simmer. So Zimmer and Simmer from the same club, obviously. You can imagine if we do sign Zimmer and Simmer combine for winner. I don't know what you lot are like in the chat, by the way. I'm sure you're already thinking of other things that rhyme to add to that headline. So yeah, there you go. I'm not. There's no jokes about mattresses today. And about speccability and everything like that. I just found it a little bit, maybe a little bit depressing off the back of what I thought was a pretty bad news day for West Ham. Anyway, as I say, I aggregated all of the West Ham stories. Actually, I didn't. It was done via the One Football app, who are sponsoring this video, and you can download the app, which is free, using the link below. It's got the whole of the Premier League in it, so if you really want to read about Brentford and Arsenal again, you probably can, but I've just got it tailored to my own specifications, as you probably know by now, which is to West Ham and to England. And so when I go on there, I've got all this, what is today, all this depressing West Ham news all in one place. It's the One Football app. Please use the link below. Download it to your mobile phone if you haven't done so already. So let's get to Milenkovic. The story, as I understand it, is that Milenkovic is in the last year of his contract. Fiorentina want to sell. We wanted to buy him. How much of this is true, I don't know. These are the rumours. Right, all we can deal with is rumours. We want to buy him. Fiorentina want to sell him to us. Milenkovic wants to come. Easy deal, right? But as I mentioned video a couple of days ago, the agents got involved, and I didn't know what sort of figures we were talking about at that point. But since then, I've had two posts on the video on that day. One of them said the agent wanted 7 million, and another post said the agent wanted 5 million. Well, let's go with the 5 million, because it's at least a lot of money. I mean, it is really, isn't it? If you're looking to buy a defender for 14 million, which I think is what it was, the son, you know, you're getting ready to write the cheque out for 14 million. I know it doesn't quite work like that. And then they sort of turn around and say, oh no, the balance is 19 What do you mean the balance is 19? Funnily enough, it actually sounds like a couple of internet purchases I've made relatively recently. Unfortunately, I just managed to stop myself at the point of checkout. So I can understand the club not wanting to spend 5 odd million on transfer fees, on agents' fees, sorry, particularly if it's going to massively eat into David Moyes' budget. I get that. But I think the point that he's in talks with Tottenham, there's another club as well. It might be Everton. It might actually, it's not Leicester, because Leicester have just signed Vestergaard. I mean, they're spending as well, haven't they? I mean, they've spent money, decent money, in excess of 10 million on 3 different players now. So I think they're probably up to nearly between 55 and 60 million in terms of their spending. It's not a fortune, granted, but they've got 3 oven-ready players for that, haven't they? We've still not spent, basically, albeit big wages on number 25, Areola. You might be confused, you might be looking at this shirt number. Thinking about number 25. If you know, you know. So, you know, I looked at it, I think, well, are Tottenham willing to pay these agents' fees? I can't imagine Daniel Levy. We know what Daniel Levy is like, right? He's not the... He's not the most extravagant man in the world when it comes to getting his wallet out, you know, short arms, deep pockets and all the rest of it. So I do wonder a little bit what's going on there. Again, I'm not at the point of getting outraged about it because he hasn't signed for Tottenham yet, and I don't really know what's going with us. But it would be incredibly disappointing for West Ham if we had spent all of this time negotiating with him, assuming we have, yes, assuming we have, and then we don't sign him and actually goes to Tottenham. That would be disappointing, particularly if we had the chance to get the deal over the line. And it is a little worry, to be honest with you, because I also heard that, and we'll deal with this obviously in more depth tomorrow, that Lanzini is injured. And I joked in one of the videos about us basically having a bench of Lanzini and Yarmolenko and Issa Diop for the game and some goalkeepers. Well, you sort of joke, and, you know, actually I missed one, which was Ryan Fredericks, of course, but it may well be that minus Lanzini. He doesn't give us the greatest of attacking midfield options off the bench, that's for sure. And I'd be really disappointed, because to hear David Moyes in his press conference yesterday was to hear him talk about Champions League and getting 2 more points. He said very much in his press conference, 2 more points and we get Champions League. We've got to try and find those 2 points from somewhere this season. Well, as I said before, we're already worse off from last season because we don't have Jesse Lingard. And whilst I do believe what I said, it'd be nice for Benrahma to get Jesse's place, we still do need another body in there, in that attacking midfield position, plus a striker. And I can't believe for a second that David Moyes doesn't know this, by the way. David Moyes is no fool. He understands. He's not stupid. He understands that there's additional games and that the squad is not big enough. And as I said the other day, yes, I do understand he doesn't want to bring anybody in that's worse than what we've got. But as I say, a striker that's slightly worse than Antonio is still better than no striker, which is where we would find ourselves, certainly. So the other thing that I look at, and this feeds into the Alves loan deal to Sunderland, it would comfort me in some way if I thought, well, OK, he's actually got some young players on the bench, and the reason he's not buying at the moment is because he's going to use young players. But, I mean, there's one there. I mean, would this guy not have been on the bench for the Newcastle game? You would think so. I mean, there's 3 ways of looking at it, actually. First one is that, and it's disappointing. Second one is that actually he's loaning him out because there is actually a central defender on the way and being announced very, very soon. We just don't know about it, and the club have kept it under wraps. The other one is that actually he does go to Sunderland, and Moyes wants him to go to Sunderland to actually get some proper first-team experience because he rates him. Hard to say. Really, really hard to say. But, I mean, you do get the impression that actually Moyes wouldn't use him. And this is the disappointing thing. You don't get the impression he is going to use these youngsters. I think if we saw Odebeko on the bench, as Gio alluded to, we know he's not going to get used. And this has really been my point for quite some time about the bench. We need to get people on the bench that David Moyes is going to use. Otherwise, just no point in them being there. And so I would be a little bit more buoyant, I think, going into the season, if I thought, oh, well, those youngsters there he's going to use. I don't think there is. And if he's not going to use them, then really we do need to bring players in. You know me, I do videos every day. I'm not bothered about loan deals, not really overly bothered about how much we spend, although I'd be shocked if we didn't have a transfer budget, because I thought as you know, Lingard and Souček and one or two others have been excellent loan deals. Areola may well be a very, very good loan deal. But we do need bodies in. We really do. And if we're going to stall and stutter, and actually what's going to happen is people like Tottenham are going to swoop in and they're going to get some of the players that we're actually looking to buy ourselves, then it ain't really a good look. I've discussed David Simmer. He's a defender, I believe. Ex-West Ham United employee was talking about him on his podcast. 20-year-old defender, quite good. Can't tell you an awful lot about him. The other thing is, it's funny actually, we keep getting linked with Sam Johnson. It's just not going to happen, obviously. And also there's another player who we've been linked with on a number of occasions, and it's Aguerd. Aguerd. I can't. Do you know what? I can't remember the guy's name. Been linked with Luka Jovic. It ain't going to happen. Says. Luka Jovic swoop could take West Ham to the next level. This is actually, again, as I said, One Football Aggregator News. This is from Eurosport. According to Eurosport, the Irons are considering turning their attention to Real Madrid striker Luka Jovic. It's claimed that he's not in Ancelotti's plans for a new season, so the Liga giants are prepared to let him leave before the transfer deadline day. They were saying it'd be a statement signing. Well, bloody right, it'd be a statement signing, but I really, really can't see it happening. For that, I know I read out a lot of rumours I can't see happening, but I mean it's not deserving of any time really at all. Look, apparently we have made a couple of bids. Apparently we're still in for old Purvis, and the player that I was talking about is Naif Aguerd, Aguerd, Aguerd. It's hard not to go full Clouseau with that, so I'm just trying to stick to my own voice with that. He plays for Rennes. How would you say it? Rennes or Rons? You say potato, I say potato. You say Aguerd, I say Aguerd. Someone, look. He's very tall. Do you remember we were saying the other day there was a guy who they said he was a giant, but we couldn't quite determine what his height was. I still don't know what his height is. I'm sure someone's going to put it in the chat. All I do know is he is significantly taller when stood on a very, very firm mattress.